Welcome to the Voice of Business. This program is sponsored by the Greater Beverly Chamber of Commerce, providing services to Beverly, Hamilton, Wenham, and Danvers. I'm John King. I'm your host today for the show, and I am the president of Headway Strategies. We're a business consulting firm located here in the North Shore, providing help to our clients to help them make headway in this very challenging business times. So today we're going to revisit a program we did about 18 months ago. It was called the Family Business Project, but now it looks like it's morphed a little bit into something we call the Exit the Family Business. And joined with me today, we have Rick McDonald, who is the founder of that organization, as well as Steve Vesey, who is the founder of that organization as well. Welcome.
Welcome, John.
Thank you very much for having us today.
Pleasure.
And so the last time we met, we was called the Family Business Project, and now you're referring to it as Exit the Family Business. What's changed in the last 18 months?
Well, it's been 18 months has flown by. It's expanding rapidly. Part of what the feedback we got was the Family Business Project kind of morphed from helping business owners to kind of handle what the business means to the family as much as the family means the business. But at its core, it's about selling the business.
Okay.
And so Exit the Family Business became more and more of a pronounced role that we're working with because after all, we're working with the lower middle market or small business market owners, business owners. 70% of those folks are baby boomers, and it's time. So
from a sales standpoint, what are you looking at in terms of businesses?
We're basically looking for the $3-4 million business to the $8-10 million business who need to move that business valuation up 50%, 75%, maybe even 100% in some cases. But the point is, most family businesses sell for 40 to 60% less than what they're really worth.
Oh,
and it's really not complicated. It's really because they don't see themselves the way an owner, a buyer rather, would see themselves. They run a lifestyle business.
Okay.
And it's doing fine, it's great cash flow, but they're not running the business as a business built to sell. So when a buyer comes in, looks at the business, they do their due diligence. They're worried about that they have an issue relative to what they're buying. If I'm buying your business, I'm buying your cash flow, your net cash flow. And from a buyer's perspective, anything that challenges that cash flow, any risk that that cash flow won't be there when you don't show up on Monday because you sold on Friday, I'm reducing the price of the business to recognize that risk.
Sure.
And as an owner, you've got to see your business the way a buyer, third-party buyer is going to see it, and begin to work on reducing the risk, therefore increasing the value a buyer may pay for your business.
Okay. So what are the options of really selling your business? I mean, you talked about liquidation, earn-out basis rather, and then business value over the owner value.
Well, this is a complicated question. It depends upon the nature of your business, the size of your business, as to where the ultimate sale is going. Is it going into family members? Is it going to key employees? Will it be to a strategic or a financial, which is another way of saying competition, or competition with a private equity firm behind it? A lot of those factors go into the nature of your business and how big your business is. But regardless, you need to groom your business to look like what the buyer, the ideal buyer, needs and expects it to look like if you're going to get the kind of number you deserve to get.
So what are the factors that make up that basis for the kind of number you want to get?
That's the whole point. What we've done is we've taken the whole complicated valuation system, and valuation experts would tell you it's a very complicated, they make it a lot more complicated than it has to. And Rick has come up with an algorithm that takes the risk that a buyer may be looking at your business and gets it converted into a multiple, and the multiple times the discretionary cash or the cash flow is what the business ends up selling for. So the challenge is to take the multiple and to increase it, and you increase it by understanding the 7 components that we have, the 7 pillars of value, and maximizing which ones will have the biggest effect on your business. Every business is different. service businesses, manufacturing businesses. But we, in most cases, can increase the value of business 40 to 60% by driving up that multiple. And at the same time, some of the things that you're doing to drive up the multiple increase your cash flow as well.
Okay, so go back and describe what the multiple is. I mean, I understand the multiple, but maybe the audience doesn't understand what the multiple is.
Well,
How you calculate that. Pardon me?
It's 4, it's 3, it's 5.
Okay.
let's make it simple. As Steve just said, most businesses the valuation of a business is generally its cash flow, its net cash flow, times some factor, some multiple. And that multiple reflects the confidence the buyer has that that income he's buying is going to be there when you're gone. So for small businesses, the Main Street, the multiple might be 2. It might be 2.5 times your earnings. This is why so many folks on small businesses have to sell for an earnout where they're sticking around because, frankly, the buyer doesn't have any confidence.
Sure.
The cash flow is necessarily going to be there. He's not saying it won't, but he's not willing to bet it's going to. So you've got to stick around and make with that transition. That's one issue. As you get a little bit bigger, your multiple's going to expand a little bit. Most lower middle market businesses, $2, $4, $5 million, actually two's too small, $4 or $5 million to $8 million businesses are going to have a multiple somewhere in the very high 2s to middle and 3s, to, done well, to 5 to 6. Now, somewhere between that stretch is a big gap for valuation. So I'll give you an example. Let's say that you've got a fine business, you're doing $1.5 million in discretionary profit.
Okay.
And I look at your business as a buyer and say, I'm willing to give you a multiple of 3.5, for example. I've got a business that's valued probably in the high 4s, $5 million range, if you do the math. $1.5 million times 4, 3.5 multiple. The problem is that your valuation ought to be closer with a multiple of $1.5 million, as Steve said, even bumping the EBIT or the earnings a little bit higher to maybe 1.7 out of good practices, and getting a multiple of approaching 5, 5.5. We're now talking about a business not worth $4.5, $5 million, but a business worth $8.5 million. The issue is understanding how to increase the confidence the buyer has that the income stream he's buying is going to be there. And they're broken down about 7 components to what comprises the multiple. And as a business owner, you need to understand what those components are, how your business currently reflects each of those scores of those 7 components, and what you need to do to increase those components, giving rise to a larger and higher multiple.
So why don't we've talked about the 7 components. Why don't we put that up on the screen here so our audience can see that, and we can talk through what those 7 components are.
Sure. So the process that we have is you take a relatively simple survey, do it online, and we will get those scores, and our algorithms will be able to create for you what we call the 7 pillars of value creation. It's going to score each of those 7 components that in aggregate comprise a multiple. Issues such as owner irrelevancy, operational irrelevancy of the owner. Because after all, if you're selling on Friday and you're not here on Monday, and you're very relevant to the operation, that's not a good thing.
Sure.
Operational irrelevancy is a big issue. Stay bonuses, making sure your key people are going to stick around after you've gone. As a buyer, I look at your employees, they're loyal to you. I'm worried that when you go, they follow you.
Sure.
Standard operating procedures. Does everyone have particularly with key employees, do they have a very clear sense of what they do, how they do it, and it's recreatable so that the process that you as an owner for the last 30 years have taken for granted, I as a buyer want to make sure that everybody's going to do what they're supposed to do when you're no longer here.
And before we started, John, we were talking about the manufacturing aspect. Here in the North Shore, so many manufacturers are ISO certified. So they think they have all their SOPs covered because they have my certification.
Sure.
That's different. This is something, just as Rick said, processes. Your particular process that makes your business unique and makes it successful. That has to be documented.
Okay.
Give you an example as we jump a little bit here. We took a business, a local business on the North Shore. Had a multiple, an EBITDA of about 1.6, 1.7 million. And they were trying to get $8 million for the sale of the business. And they were struggling with it. They had people coming in, doing due diligence, and the offers were coming in 7-ish, but not strong enough and not exciting the buyer, the owner, to accept any of those offers. Well, we came in and reviewed the company, did an MRI in the company, if you will. A couple of things that we found: operational relevancy, there was one issue. The clear-cut SOPs, who did what, and the lines of demarcation were muddied. And
Okay.
everyone sort of was in everybody else's business. And
Right.
it affected the general administration. It clearly affected sales and commissions and who got credit for what kind of sale. There were a lot of things that were sort of in conflict. And as long as the owner was there to kind of mitigate those things, it sort of worked, but not really.
Okay.
Clear-cut lines of demarcation, who does what, how things work, got all that cleaned up. I'm going to tell you in a short order, inside 12 months, that business sold for 50% greater than what the person was trying to sell in the first place, because we got everyone understanding what they were doing. When they did, profits actually rose a little bit.
Yeah.
Margins were wonderful, and that business sold for a multiple of not 4, which is where they sort of were muddling around originally at $1.6 million times 4 is a multiple. That was where the $7-8 million threshold seemed to be bumping into the glass ceiling. We got the income up a lot closer to $2 million, and a multiple sold on a multiple of 6 to a private equity firm. It's not that complicated when you break down using the 7 pillars of value creation, your various silos in how you score currently and what you need to score to get where you need to go. So moving onward, you've got margin management.
Right?
You've got utilizing, automating and maximizing technology for your service and your customer service and your sales identification process. Technology is woefully underutilized in this lower middle market business owned by the fella who's 68 or gal, 68 years old, who's been in the business for 30 years. They're struggling. We've got clients struggling to open up their laptops. And we need to embrace technology and the apps to run better customer service records, understanding where business is coming from, automating the flows. Another major criteria is recurring revenue. Moving to a recurring revenue model is more important than maybe anything other than operational relevancy. Because as a buyer, if I see most of your income on a recurring revenue basis, I've got much greater confidence that you're not having a whole lot of one-off sales because you're playing golf with your key employees, or you got a relationship born on 20 or 30 years of just, having friends in the business. All of these things make huge differences for the buyer coming out of left field, having confidence that what they're buying is going to be recreatable.
So it's not just the different product and services you're selling, but maybe like the printers. I mean, you buy a printer and you've got to buy ink. Mm-hmm. It's consumable products.
The fastest growing model in America today is the club or the loyalty program, the subscription business. All of those are predicated on recurring revenue basis. It's giving away the shavers because you get a new one. You're giving away the physical shave because you get blades every month in the mail.
Right.
CVS is doing it. Everyone is moving towards some sort of subscription basis for valuation purposes.
Okay.
And we've got to do it ourselves.
Yeah.
It's a huge impact.
Another perfect example would be is your local car wash, you may have noticed, has gone to a $39 or $49 monthly club instead of getting your car washed every so often for $10.95. That monthly club is the recurring revenue. It's driving value, and that's what this is all about.
I should tell me where that car wash is.
Okay.
Later.
They're on the ads. You can hear them. There are a couple of car washes that are on the radio right now. Listen to one yesterday. $29 a month for unlimited car washes.
Wow.
The model, though, the valuation of your business explodes because of that recurring revenue model. And when you're looking to sell your business, you need to understand all of these 7 aspects, how you score currently in your business, and what you really need to score
In order to make a sale that's
to get the
profitable, yeah.
value
Yeah.
up to the number where you need to get it to.
Yep.
So if you're a $4 or $5 million business and you tell me, but Rick, I need $8 million to make this work to be able to retire and transition into my what's next. Well, that's fine. What do you need to do? What do you need to look like to command a potential $8 million sale?
Okay.
And this is where the 7 pillars of valuation come in.
So let's go to the next graphic that we had up there, which was an example of what you did to improve that
You tell us
area.
what you're looking for, and we look at what your discretionary income or profit looks like. We can then model what your 7 pillars need to score to be able to justify the kind of number that you're looking for. And if we know where you are, we know where you need to get to. Well, then we can bring the two together in the third slide and see gap analysis. We can specifically see across all 7 criteria, here's where you are now, here's where you need to go. Here's where you are now, here's where you need to go, and so forth, right on down the line. And now build concrete action steps
For them to do that,
work
yeah.
on how to go from here to here, how to go from here to here,
Yep.
and so forth, right on down the line. Get that in place. You're going to increase the value of your business by 30, by 40, 60, 100% in some cases. Not everyone's going to get to 100%, but we're going to share with you that most folks can increase the value of their business 40 to 50 to 60% inside 12 months with focused work and understanding where the low-hanging fruit is. What factors will leverage value quicker, faster, sooner in your individual business.
Okay.
And the quicker, faster, sooner we have found involves recurring revenue, SOPs, and operational relevancy. Those are the 3 silver bullets that almost every business can focus
Suffers,
on.
yeah.
And that's I don't want to call it the low-hanging fruit, but those are the things that jump right out at you. And if we go to the next slide and shows, I think we have one with the overlap on it.
Yep. Okay. That next slide is the one that does have the overlap.
Right,
Okay.
and you'll see the biggest differences in and hopefully we can see this on the screen, with the recurring revenue, with the standard operating procedures in the first pillar, operational relevancy. Those are the ones that you see the biggest increases in because those are the ones that had the biggest impact on the multiple.
Okay. So with all that behind us, right, we have a handle on what the business is doing. We have a handle where we want to go. We've got some support from the owner to make the changes that are necessary because that's got to be key to get the thing to
gotta
go
be
forward.
committed.
They've gotta be
Absolutely, you
committed
have to be
it.
committed. This is not unlike joining a gym and you write out the check. Well, you have to show up.
Well, you have to do more than show up.
You have to do up. You have to work.
Yeah,
This
you
is
have to work, right.
We talk about the energy level that you had with the first day you started your business, and you get in front of somebody and say, "Remember the first day you started your business?" In my own case, I remember it was the brightest sunrise I ever saw, and I'm not kidding. It seemed to be that way. And now it's 30, 40 years later, and you're tired. You've got to crank it up. You need the energy. This is the most important 8, 10, 12 months of your career to get this business set up so you can leave it.
So you look at a one year, 18-month kind of time frame?
That's usually at an operational cycle. Give us that, and we can work with you.
You know, it depends. You hate to say it depends, but it
Sure.
does depend. 6 months, 18 months, that's usually the sweet spot. If you're going to make the really impactful changes, they can be done inside 6 months. Certainly 12 months. A lot of things ought to be happening if you're committed to make these things, the changes. But the key is really simple. You now know exactly where to focus your energy.
Yep.
Most folks, they have a conceptual intention of doing things a little differently, improving this, that. They know technology. They're underutilizing technology. Forget all of that. You can build yourself a very specific roadmap on the very impactful things that are going to directly help a buyer instill confidence that what he's buying is worth a premium price. And that's the objective. It's simple as that.
So you participate with them in the process. I mean, it's not just give them a book and have them go at it. You work with them, follow up?
It all depends. It's the third time I've said this. We've got a couple of different programs. We sell the 7-pillar value creation analysis for a certain price. It's not very it's very simple. You can jump online, go through the analysis, and and you'll get a 35-page book report showing you what you've got, where you are, what you need to do, how you need to do what you need to do.
Okay.
And you can execute that by yourself, and that's one stage, one level of our services. Or if it's appropriate, if we're convinced that you're serious and you're convinced that we understand what we're doing, and we come to a mutual agreement, we can work with you to consult with you to bump up that value. And it's a more expensive, there is a proposition involving an audit fee, a very low retainer, and some participation on a success fee. So it all depends upon who the person is, what potential the client has. We're not going to take on larger clients that we don't think are ready to do the work that needs to be done, or to some degree having the potential to exponentially increase the value of their business. Everyone, though, everybody will increase the value of their business by some significant factor greater than the cost of the 7-pillar report if they care to do that. It's not that complicated.
Yeah,
if you know what you're doing.
Right. I kind of go back to Steve's point about going to the gym and actually working at the gym.
It's going to take some work,
Yeah.
but it's like building a model. If you don't have the instructions, it's not likely it's going to look like what it's supposed to look like.
Right. But
You're
if
going to
you-
get the model built. You're going to get the instructions. You're going to get the step-by-step. Here's what you need to get done. And then you have to put the effort into it.
Yeah, we do have to do that. And I need to just kind of go back on the coaching side of it to make sure that they actually do what they say they're going to do. I know that's been the case with a lot of companies as they come in, they get an idea and they aren't able to execute on it without some outside support.
You usually have to have a coach. I mean,
Yeah.
I do use that example all the time. I don't care whether you're a professional football player, basketball player, everyone has a coach. Everyone needs a coach. You need perspective, you need a little bit of distance sometime, and sometime you need a little discipline to instill the energy levels and the encouragement and tracking progress so you do know that you're making progress and you feel
Absolutely.
good about what it is you're doing.
Absolutely.
So all of this
Absolutely.
is very much a part of it. But the key is understanding what we talk about, the survey, and going through the 7 pillars is taking an MRI of your business. You need to understand what your business looks like from an outside perspective looking in, and what it is you need to focus on to clean it up so that you kind of get the conversation moving in the right direction with the prospective buyers.
Right.
Otherwise nothing's going to happen.
Right.
One of the marketing companies we work with, a digital marketing company, which is all about this automated sales thing, we describe what we did to the point when Rick said, well, when you got to clean up, he says, boy, this sounds like a Cinderella project. And we sort of jokingly call it, what we're doing is we're doing a Cinderella project for these business owners who are in their late 60s, who know they're in trouble because they haven't saved enough. Or, there's a big gap between what the business is worth and what they need to successfully transition and maintain their lifestyle. So we're going to get them to that point. We're going to get them ready for the ball.
Okay. Well, hopefully there's no midnight for the ball and they're ready to roll with it.
Yep.
Let's talk a little bit about now you've done your work, you've gotten them up to a higher multiple, and somebody wants to buy the business. How does that work? We have a slide that we're going to bring up right now and talk about the merger and acquisition versus
that's
the
a great
consultative
question.
team.
People ask all the time, so mechanically, how do I sell the business? So what we're talking about is whether you are doing it yourself or whether you're going to engage us for what Steve's talking about, what we refer to as the Cinderella project. We're going to spend the next 6 to 12 to maybe even 18 months helping you get best practices in place, beginning to clean up your business, not so much that your business is broken, but clean your business up so that an outsider can come in and take the business over
Right.
and do what you took for granted seamlessly. Now, as that's happening, the value of your business is being recognized as a transferable asset. And that's what's significant. We need to be really clear here. We're not going to make your business more valuable to you. We're going to make your business more valuable in a transition to a third party because they're more confident that they can step in your shoes. And the things that you took for granted are still going to roll out. Now, as that process is going on, this 2, 3, 4, 6, 12-month, 18-month process, as that's going on, we're going to now roll you over into a relationship with either a business broker for the smaller businesses or an M&A firm for the $5-6 million business going northward. That's generally where the transition between business broker and M&A firm occurs. And somewhere as you're moving up this progressing, you're moving up the process of the scale of creating greater value in your business. We're going to introduce you to the business broker or M&A firm that we think is appropriate. We have no vested interest in who they are, other than we want to get you in the hands of the right person representing you and your business, and start bringing in the potential buyers, whether they're outsiders, financial, strategics, wherever they may be, however they might, wherever they come from. And there's certain kind of businesses that are ideal for certain businesses, and matching them up is the role of the business broker or the M&A firm. We understand, we've seen this plenty of times, but from our perspective, our skin in the game is getting your number as high up as possible because we have participation in a successful sale. So we become, on the buyer side of the table, on the seller's side of the table, working to bring the proper people and the mediators in between, the team, if you will, to get that sale happening so everything works as well as it possibly can and you maximize the value of your business.
Okay. All right. Well, I think that's covered a lot of ground in the last little bit here. And I guess that the summary I take from it is that you need to start your exit strategy early.
Oh, yes.
Figure out where you are.
It's like everything else. The sooner you do things like this, I mean, the easier it is. It's a lot easier transplanting a sapling than a full-grown oak. So the sooner you get working on something and transitioning it to where it needs to be, the easier it's going to be for everybody, and the more successful you're going to be in selling your business for the kind of number you want. I'll close my comments on this. It's always amazing to me when I see these 40-year-olds taking over a business. They already look at what they want the business to look like, who they want to sell to, and they reverse engineer what they have now so that it looks in 3 to 5 years where they want it to be so the sale will occur. We're dealing with folks that have had their business for 20 or 30 years. They've built a lifestyle out of their business, not a business built to sell. And we need to get people to understand that a lifestyle business is not a business built to sell.
Right.
And that's the problem.
Right.
So the sooner we understand that and move towards that transition, the much better we're going to be.
Yeah.
Steve, other thoughts?
Well, I think, I go through my own, the viewers know this, but I sold an accounting practice. And my partner and I actually spent 3 years with an outside consultant once a month, just getting ready to help me get mentally ready to get out and get her mentally ready to get in. It's, it's one of the truisms I know in 40 years of being a CPA is that those who plan end up in a better spot. We all know people that run their lives that way. They plan their vacations on a spreadsheet or whatever. They end up in a better spot because they do planning. You have to plan for this.
Yeah. Very good. What's the best way to contact both of you? I think we're going to put that up on the screen right now. We can go to Rick at exitthefamilybusiness.com or Steve at thefamilybusiness.com.
Yep,
exitthefamilybusiness.com.
Either email us at Exit the Family Business, or I would encourage everyone listening to simply go online, go on to exitthefamilybusiness.com, access the survey, take the survey. It's free, and you'll get a summary report and be offered a very, very detailed report should you choose to go and take a deeper data dive into what, in fact, is going on in your business.
Okay.
Because our algorithms are already going to give us the kind of information that you absolutely need. And we'll be more than happy at that point to have a conversation about sharing that information with you.
Very good. Well, thank you both for coming in today. We're going to have to wrap up our session here.
Okay.
Just to, it's a little bit of commercial here. Want you to think about keeping it local as you are preparing for the Christmas holiday. Think about buying from the local businesses in town as opposed to the big A. And even though it's right available for you, keeping it local is very important as it keeps the businesses going in our community. Our shows will be available on my website and eventually the Chamber website. You can see them at headwaystrategiesconsulting.com, and we'll have more as they go on to it. If you're a business owner in the Beverly, Hamilton, Wenham, and Danvers area and you'd like to be on the show, please reach out to me at jking at headway-strategies.com, and we'll be happy to talk with you about including you on the show, and you can talk about your business. With closing then, I'd like to thank both Rick and Steve for joining us today, and everybody have a good, I guess I can say, Thanksgiving holiday at this point.
Sure.
I'm not sure when this will show, but have a great Thanksgiving holiday.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for having us.
And with that, we'll talk to you the next time. Thank you.